Can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the fifth live session of the Agents Bootcamp by AI Planet. We're delighted to have you with us today as for an exceptionally insightful and informative session. I'm Shreya Pandey, and I'll be moderating today's session. For today's session, we are thrilled to have Sam as a speaker. Sam is a senior software developer and a founding team member here at AI Planet. With his extensive experience and significant contributions towards GenAI stack, Sam is well equipped to guide us through today's topic. So in today's session, Sam will explore the GenAI stack for building RAG pipelines without writing a single line of code. The session will also include a demonstration where we build an application using LLMs based on that. So without further ado, Sam,
yeah. Hello. Uh, I guess am I audible? Uh, Hello. Hello. Can someone in the chat let me know if I'm audible or not? Okay. Cool. Uh, I guess I'll proceed then. So hey everyone. I guess in the world of AI, I mean, everyone would be very familiar with RAG applications. So you would have seen a lot of RAG-based applications done with LangChain, Llama-Indexes, and stuff like that. So low-code tools are basically there to help you aid in the process. So they make the process easier and help you skip the repetitive stuff so that you can build your applications the way you want them to. So let's go through GenAI Stack. It's a low-code, no-code platform that we have built to build LLM applications. Let me share my screen and let me get a quick share screen. Yeah. So, uh, yeah. So basically, we'll go through an overview on what the application has, and then we will switch to the application and we can build a stack for ourselves and see how it does. So first, I'll just walk you through the overview of an application. So whenever you're building an application, right? So let's say you are building a simple chat application or text generation application or a chatting with a PDF kind of a use case, you start from one end, which is like the input. So you have the input on one end and you have the output on the other. So basically, your application state will flow from the input to the output. And in between, you might have a lot of different components which does a varied set of things. So first, we will go through document loaders. So basically, document loaders are there to help you get data from the user. So let's say the user want to add some data, or he wants to get the data from the user and process it and do something with it. You use a document loader. And the second component is a text splitter. The text splitter is basically will chunk your data into smaller things so that you will know how, I mean, if the data is too large, like your data is basically chunked and then given to the next set of the next node of the application so that the next node has context and everything. And then you have the embeddings and the vector store. So we'll get into all these components and how they link with each other and how we can connect them in a minute. So I'll just give you a overall walkthrough. So there is the embeddings and the vector store. So this is basically your vector database and
Hi,
the embedding.
Sam. Hello. So there is a
Hello.
bit of disturbance in the voice.
Oh, okay. I guess my sound is on full. Uh, Not sure. Okay, let me switch off my fan. Please. Just give me a minute. Hello, is it audible now? Like, am I clear now?
Yeah, I guess it's because of the mic that you have. Okay, I can hear everyone fine. Yeah, okay, you can proceed now, Sam.
Okay, then, cool. Uh, so basically, the embeddings and the vector store are basically to store your data and to create a search space. Like a search space is nothing but there is a storage area where you just dump data in it and you want to search from within that data. So that is the embeddings and the vector store and LLM. Like as usual, the LLM is no brainer here. So everything starts. I mean, the LLM is the most crucial component in this, and you have the prompt components also where you can write your prompts. You can define what and all variables the prompt has and how these things go into each other, etc. And you have the chain finally, I mean, chain. So this chain, what it does, it combines all of your logic together into a single component and tries to execute with this thing. So it's like an orchestrator which takes in a bunch of basic components and try to orchestrate the entire thing with it. So we'll get into more detail when we are building the stack in just a minute. And we have the memory. So memory is just basically to have your previous conversational history and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get our hands dirty and try something with the stack. So for our context, I'll just create. So let me share my tab here. Okay. So if you see, this is our GenAI stack platform. So in this platform, you have stacks, knowledge base, organization, teams, and global variables. The stacks is where you would actually create your stacks. So let me just go ahead and create a new stack. So by the way, anyone can sign up on the platform and use the platform and deploy or do stuff with it. So it's not restricted or anything. So let me start creating a simple flow, a simple chat with PDF application. So I'll start with the chat with PDF application with the input. So I'll call. So for the input, you have to give a input key.
Sam,
So
I
let
guess
me.
we can share the link. I've shared the link in the chat so that everyone can use it.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. So
So this is the link. You just have to go to app.aiplanet.com and you just have to create your account. So once your account is done, probably you can get started building your own stack so that you can follow along with Sam.
yeah.
Yes, Sam.
Yeah, cool. So basically, you start with the input component, and the input I start here is a file. So I have my input component. It's a file, and I want to chat with a PDF, right? So I'll just go here, pick the PyPDF loader here. Uh, yeah, so my PyPDF loader. So this input can go to this loader, and I connect the file path to it. So you can upload any file here, and that input will propagate. So basically, this is the loader part. You are getting the data from a PDF file, and after the data, you want to chunk the data. You don't want to store the entire PDF as a single shot within your vector database. So basically, what you do is you chunk the data, you go to the text splitters, and you get the recursive language character text splitter, and you connect whatever output comes here, you just connect it to this thing, and whatever output comes out of this node, uh, it's basically the chunk document. So basically, you give your entire file here, it reads the file, it processes the file, it gives the entire file to this text splitter. This text splitter would go through the file, chunk it into small chunks, like on whatever chunk size you specify here. And then comes the storage part. And then comes the storage part where you actually store these things. So basically, you can store it in a vector store. Uh, There are a bunch of vector store options, but for now, for simplicity and testing purposes, we are going with Chroma. Okay, so this is the documents, and the vector store needs one more component, which is dependent of, which is the embedding component. So the embedding is nothing but it will get your chunked data, converted into embeddings, and store it in the vector data. That is what this node is responsible for. And you have to specify what type of embedding you're going to use. You can use any type of embedding. Uh, but for now,
Sam,
I'm
can
going
you
with.
zoom the screen a bit? because there is a query if you can zoom the screen.
Okay, okay. Is it fine now?
Yeah, this should be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So basically, the vector store, what it does is it takes all the chunked documents, it processes them through this embedding function, and then, am I audible now? Hello, hello.
Yes, I'm here audible.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, what happens is like this vector store component, it takes in the chunked documents and it also takes in the embedding function. It embeds all the chunks and then stores it into the vector DB later for retrieval. Retrieval is basically a search process. So basically, let's say you have a bunch of content that you want to search through. Uh, this is how it works. So you create an embedding space and you store it in a vector DB, and the vector DB, and you can basically search in that embedding space to get whatever relevant documents you need, and then you can proceed through it. And this retrieval, right? This retrieval is basically connected through a chain. So basically, we'll get to the chain. I'll first do the chain here. So uh, let me call this retrieval QA. Uh, yeah. So the retrieval basically goes into this QA, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. Okay, I guess I took the wrong chain. Yeah, sorry. So basically, you have to take the conversational retrieval chain here, and it's not connecting for some reason. We'll check a build stack as well. I guess I'm making some mistake here, but let's go through. Like, so we have the LLM component. So I just take a chat, Azure Chat OpenAI here for simplicity. Azure Chat OpenAI. Yeah, I guess. So my Azure Chat OpenAI, I can connect it as an LLM, and also I have the memory. So let's go to the memory component. So if you see a star here, it means it's a mandatory thing, and you can also choose the chain stuff. So there are a bunch of things that you can actually do when you are stuffing the document. So stuffing the document means, so let's say I give a query. Let's say I uploaded all my chemistry notes here, okay, and I want to ask, let's say, what is the structure of alcohol or something. Now, what will happen is my vector store will search all the relevant pages or all the relevant text from the PDF that I uploaded, which are related to my search query, which is what is an alcohol structure, right? So it will get all the results and will give it to a stuff chain. A stuff chain is basically, it has all your documents. It places all your documents into a single LLM prompt and asks the LLM to summarize it, and then it gives the result of the summarization to another LLM call and ask, hey, the first step will be summarization, like contextualizing all that data into a single short answer, and after that giving that answer into another LLM call and making it usable. So uh, that's how it works. And after that, you have the memory component. So the memory component is basically for the contextual history. So I can choose the conversation buffer memory here, and basically can go into this memory thing, and yeah, and then you can have a prompt. So basically, the prompt is optional here. So since there is no mandatory simple here, the prompt is optional here. But you can have your own prompt as well. So basically, your prompt would include question, context, and chat history. So basically, these are the three variables that you would have. So a simple, you are an expert in, let's just keep it generic, like you are a helpful AI assistant you are having a conversation with a human based on the context and chat history. So let's make this context and chat history. Uh, Answer the questions that the human has. So, yep. So basically, you would have your context here, and you would have your chat history here, and you would have a question here. Okay. Yeah. So I can basically remove all these things. So this is a basic prompt that you can write with the context, chat history, and question, and you can basically connect this prompt uh, to the component, and you can make it work. And also, if you see in the memory, there is like the input key and the memory key. So the memory key is nothing but whatever is in your prompt. Like let's say the history key that is in my prompt is the chat history. By default, it is history. Since I have given a custom prompt, it's chat history. So which means I have to specify chat history here. So this is the prompt key in which the buffer memory's output would be streamed into. So basically, whenever this chain is executing, it will check for this key in the prompt, and it will substitute the value of this key with whatever output comes from the memory. So we'll get to the chains in a minute. So the input key is nothing but the input that the user is going to ask. And this context is going to be coming from the retriever, which the chain is going to feed in. So chain is basically the orchestrator. So if you see, right, we have a bunch of components. Like we have the LLM, we have the memory, we have the prompt, we have the retriever, and you have to manage the logic between all these four components in different ways. So let's say the first question is my let's say what is the alcohol structure. Let's take that as a base, and I'm saying what is the alcohol structure. Now my chain will determine which component to use when. So basically my first thing is to search. So my first usage would be the retriever. My chain would first search this question in the vector store that I've just uploaded, and when so in the retriever it would just look for the vector store. It will first search for it, and after searching the results would come, right? So it will put into a stuff chain. So it will put all the documents into a prompt. It will summarize all the content into a single answer, and then give that answer as question. So this question parameter is special because whatever comes from stuffing the document, you have other parameters also, like there is map reduce, refine, map rerank. So these are all different methodologies to convert your search results into a condensed answer so that the LLM can answer much more accurately. So when you ask a structure of alcohol, it shouldn't give something random first, let's say. So that controlling of the context is happening here with the stuff. So in that regards, this question parameter is slightly more special, like where the results of this will be given as a context to the prompt, and whatever the memory is there, right? So initially your memory might be empty. So whatever the memory key is there, it will search for this memory key in the prompt. So let's say chat history and chat history. So both of those keys are matching. So which means that whatever output I'm getting from the memory, it will go into this section of the prompt. And my question is nothing but what the user would give in. So we'll get to that in a moment. And the input key is nothing but what the user is going to give. So when you're storing the memory, it would be like you have a input key and a memory key, and you can also have an output key, but that's not mandatory. So basically you would have the input key, memory key, and those keys has to match with what is in your prompt. So if let's say in my prompt I change it to just history, okay, and I save it. Now my memory key also would change, because this is the parameter where I want the memory to come in. Like, who's determining how the memory will come in? The chain, the orchestrator basically decides what to put in where, and it uses these keys to help it understand what we're trying to do. So you have the history, and if you change something, yeah. Yeah. So since I don't have the credentials in the current stack, I'll go to a already built stack for simplicity purposes, so that you guys can see how a build stack looks like. So you just have to fill in the credentials and you're done in the previous one also. So yeah, you guys are able to see my screen? Hello? Hello?
The screen is visible.
Yeah, cool, cool. So basically, if you see, right, it's the same exact flow. So let's say I have an input here. I have the PyPDF loader. I have the recursive text character splitter, and okay. And then I have the embeddings. Here I used OpenAI embeddings, and I have the vector store, which is BV8, and I have the prompt template, and I also have my retrieval chain, and also I have my memory and my Azure Chat OpenAI. So basically, it's almost the same. It's just we have swapped a couple of components with something else, but the functionality is the same. Yeah. So since they are using VV8, I have to pass in an API key and URL and stuff like that. So yeah. So that's it regarding. So let me just run the stack for you guys once. So basically, after creating the stack, you have to build the stack. So building, what it will do is okay. Sorry, I did this. I didn't. Okay, I didn't. I guess I didn't give it. So basically, I'll just give it a file now. It's using the old file that I gave. Yep. So let me give it a sample file. Uh, yep. So I'm just uploading my resume here. So let me. I just uploaded my file and I just built this stack. Okay. Yeah. So after building this stack, you would have a chat option. So when you're building the stack, right, it just validates all the components, just runs through all the components, check if the types are matching correctly, if you have made the inputs and all correctly. And if you want to see what the output of the component is, you can hover over this green button here. So this doesn't have much to say as an input, but if you see, this was the text that was extracted, and all this text is chunked into this thing, and it is stored into my vector DB. Yeah. And after that, I can just chat with it. So I can just ask a question like, what is the context about? And yeah, so it gave me what my projects are, like what is the name of the person. I guess there is something wrong with the extraction, but if the person has, yeah. Yeah, so these are the skills and projects that it has mentioned that the person has. And yep, so that's mostly it about the testing session. So this is just a testing interface. So you have that just the testing interface here to make sure everything is going fine. But there is also like the deploy interface. So the deploy interface is something that you can give to people. So let me just show you how it looks like. So this was the stack that we created earlier. So here is the deploy button. You have free, premium, and dedicated instance. So dedicated instance, you can deploy your app on a separate server with custom domains and stuff like that. Whereas free and premium, you can deploy within the application. The free is free for everyone. Anyone can deploy their application. The premium Like whoever wants a premium, they can contact us, and we would give them the access to premium as well. So yeah. So the only difference between free and premium is that your free would get shut down within 2 hours, except for a premium would not get shut down. Uh, so basically, this is my deployed application. So this is already deployed. So I'm just going to chat, and yep. So I just share this screen. So this is how the chat. When you click on the chat button, basically it takes you to this page where you just see the application and nothing else. Here you can create a new session and you can chat with the session as well. So I'll just upload one file, and uh, yep. So I'm just uploading a research paper basically. So it's ge- it's getting loaded. So basically you would see this thing. So after your this thing is done, yeah, so now your data is chunked and loaded into the vector database, and now we can basically ask the question, what is the paper about? Yep. So yeah, simple. So this is basically a machine learning models paper which detects breast cancer and stuff like that. So it does that. You can ask what is the name of the paper. Name of the paper. Yeah. Okay. So the name of the paper is not explicitly provisioned. I guess you can tweak the prompt even more. So the name could be there, and the uh, this thing is getting slightly confused because of that. Like if you tweak the prompt even more to search more properly, and if you tweak the retrievers much more better, you would get much more better answers as well. So everything you see here is just the base version. Like this can be tweaked further. You can give much more complicated prompts, and you can chain through a bunch of things and uh, get your outputs and results done. So that's the base of this application. You can do a lot more as well. You can do a language translation app, or you can have a question generation app, or a MCQ generation app, stuff like that. You can do a lot of things with this application. And also you can see the logs as well. So as an admin, you have the ability to see the logs as well. So you can see uh, what was the paper about. Okay, so these were the questions, and you can ask about what was the retriever. So basically when I asked what is the name of the paper, you can basically see what was given. So if you see, right, the name of the paper is here, but it didn't know that it was the name of this paper. So which means you have to tweak your prompt, or you have to tweak the retriever to know. So this is basically a good thing to know, that because the retriever worked properly and your LLM failed. So which means now you can troubleshoot the prompt that we have written to make the LLM much more robust to answering what you have done. So this basically gives you a lot of insight into, okay, what went, what stages, like what was the actual context that was given to the model, and how did the model figure out the answer. And you can dive deep and you can tweak the prompts until you get it as well. You have your duration as well, you have your build logs as well, and etc. So you have much more control on what goes into the platform and how you can tweak your prompts to get the desired results. So yeah, so that's it about your online upload. So I would like to present you something about uh, online and offline. So the complicated part is how you handle data, like where the data flows and how the data flows out of the platform. So that is the important part that you have to understand. So there are like two types of uploads here. So let me share my screen. Tarun, please confirm if my screen, this tab is correctly visible, or if I have to zoom in or something. Hello.
Yes, your screen is visible, but you can zoom a bit.
Okay, got it. Uh, so I'll first explain about online uploads. So online uploads are like hot uploads, like the one which you saw right now, the chat with PDF use case. You upload a file when on the chat application, and then that data is hot loaded and you just chat with that data in real, I mean, on the same time. Okay, so that is the online upload thing. So you basically define the pipeline in the stack, and you basically build the stack and you experiment and deploy. If you are confused what a pipeline is, a pipeline is nothing but the data flow that you have inside the stack. So if I go here, uh, so this is my pipeline. So my pipeline starts from my input, it goes through loader, text splitter, and it ends at my retriever. So this is your pipeline. So this is your data storage path. So you get through the input, it goes through the loader, it gets chunked, and it gets stored into the vector DB. So this entire thing, subsection, is called the pipeline. And if the pipeline is defined in your graph to us to say, then basically what you're doing is you are specifying an online upload. So this means that you want an upload to happen when you are going to the chat interface. So the upload of the data would happen on the chat interface. There is also another type of solution, like uh, let me share my screen this side, and if you see, there is something called as offline upload. So in offline upload, you don't want the user to work with data on the fly. You want to preload the data, and based on that data alone, you want the user to ask questions. So this could be something like a customer support bot or a FAQ bot or something like that, where the customer data, your product documentation, your any internal technical details that you have, or and previous FAQ data, all these things are preloaded into a knowledge base already. So basically, all those data is already preloaded into the knowledge base, and then you just create a simple retrieval stack with it. You build the stack, you experiment and deploy, and you upload. So in this stack, you wouldn't have any hot uploads. By hot uploads, I mean, if you see in this chat with PDF use case, so this is your hot upload. So basically, you have to upload the PDF here, wait for the PDF to get chunked, loaded, and done, and then you can start chatting. So this is an hot upload, which is an online upload. But in the other case, in an offline upload, you don't have to upload the data every time you want to chat. You basically pre-upload the data, store it in a knowledge base, and then just chat about it. So let me quickly share you that also. Uh, so basically, we have a section called as knowledge base. So basically, you create a knowledge base by simply like creating a name for your knowledge base, and you're defining the text splitter here and your embedding function here. You can use like three of these embeddings. So you have Azure Inference API, and you have this thing. You can create a name for sample and just go ahead with it. So I have already created a knowledge base for you here. And when you go into the knowledge base, you can add a document here. So you can basically go here, add a document. So I'll just give a URL, and I'll just do https docs.com and slash, and I'll just go add it. Yep, never. And this might take a few seconds since the upload is happening at batch. In the meanwhile, you can go back, or I can use my previously created stack, this one, which is already preloaded with some data, and I can show you a quick experiment on that. So basically, I can go here. You can also deploy your stacks. Basically, you can uh, export your stack, and you can save with your API keys or without an API key as well. And you can do this, and basically this, if you want to share the stack with someone else and you don't want them to give your API keys, you can just uh, disable this option. So I'll just download the stack for my personal use once more, and I'm just going to upload my stack, which yeah. So instead of chat with PDF, I'll just go and change this name to chat with knowledge base. Chat with your, yeah. So I'll just save it, And here in this case, you don't need all this data pipeline thing. So because since your data is already handled at outside the application, so you just can delete all these things. Yeah. So just you can delete all these things, and basically you can have a knowledge base. So you can basically choose a knowledge base ID. Like if you see whatever knowledge base that was there, you're getting it here. And okay, it's slightly slower. So yeah. Yeah, so if you see, I have chosen what knowledge base to use, and yeah, okay, I got the issue. So basically, you give it to a ensemble retriever, right? And you pass the retriever to here. So yeah. So basically, a retriever is much more slightly sophisticated than a vector store. So in a retriever, if you have a retriever, you specifically specify what is your top k, like how many documents you want to choose, and what is the weightage you want to give to each document. So let's say I have 4 documents and I want to give all the 4 documents equal weightage. Like you do something like this when you're searching. Yeah, so this is much more for advanced use cases. And yeah. So basically, this is how your stack would be at the end of the day. Since we have nothing here, it might not give you any answers, but yeah, you can basically create a knowledge base and you can basically connect that as a retriever. And you can basically, so if you're not sure what components you can use with what components, you can basically come here over on this dot and it will show you. It can use ensemble retriever or vector store retriever, and you can come to anything, right? So this ensemble retriever, what and all it can connect to, it can connect to chains and it can connect to another retriever which is called a multi-query retriever. So basically we have a typing system also which shows you what it can connect to and what it cannot connect to, so that you might not end up messing it up. So yep. And basically connect it here, and basically the search query, and you just basically build the stack. Okay. Okay, so I guess this doesn't go well with this. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's getting some error because there is no documents in it. But yeah, but once you have documents, okay, this has failed. So once you have documents and it has succeeded, then you would be able to chat the knowledge base as well. Yeah. So that's it. Regarding the online and offline uploads, like offline uploads are already pre-stored for you, whereas online uploads are like you upload at the moment that you want and then you configure and play with it. Yeah. So that's mostly it regarding the low code tools, and that's mostly it regarding the GenAI stack. So if you have any questions, like you can feel free to start asking. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Shiva, yeah, I can hear.
Oh, okay, right. So I have the questions here. Oh, you can see them on the screen when I click on them. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So what are all the vector storage options we offer? We offer like 3 to 4 vector databases right now. Like one is Chroma, one is VV8, the other one is Redis and PG Vector. So basically, if you have the right credentials and you are connecting it properly, like you can connect to anything. So yeah. For testing, we recommend Chroma, and for deployment, yeah, you can have your custom components as well. So you can find that in the documentation. Like right now, you don't need code for the existing components, but if you want something much more custom or you want something much more complicated, you have always an option to write your custom components as well in this stack. It's basically
I think we
regarding your
covered this.
scale and usage. So the different types of deployments are basically, so if you say free deployments, we stop it after 2 hours. Like if you have a free app and you share it with someone, it might stop working after 2 hours. If you have a premium deployment, it will never stop, it will just keep running. And a dedicated instance is much more like a dedicated instance, like other cloud providers like Netlify or someone else provides. It's similar to that. It provides you a custom domain. It isolates your what do I call API calls. Like you have much more flexibility in determining what scale you want. It depends upon the scale. Like we recommend that to mostly enterprise users, like who are seeing much more higher scale. We recommend dedicated instances to them. Yeah. Yeah, we definitely have some ready-made templates. So when you sign into the platform itself, you would see a bunch of curated stacks, stacks which are already, given to you. I can share my screen. Yeah. So if you see my screen, there is always already a bunch of curated stacks. Okay, my system is failing for some reason. Hello.
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah. So basically, you have a section called as curated stacks, which you can use on the platform. And yeah, hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, I guess I answered the question. Is that all, or do we have?
Yeah, that's the. We have more questions. Yeah. Uh, can you share how to use the API option for this?
Yeah. So basically, the API option is there for the dedicated instances, but the API options are currently not there in this centralized version. Like we are bringing it in the roadmap. But yeah, there is an API option that you can use to expose the workflow as well. Yeah, that is there.
Okay.
Hello, Sam. I guess we can show a demo on how we can use API. So probably that will be more. I'll probably. So this is the link. So I've
Hello.
shared the link in the comment. Sam, am I audible?
Yeah. You're audible.
Okay, so I've shared the bootcamp curriculum link. Suppose if you want to build any stack, right? How do you use the stack after you have deployed? So that's where we also provide the APIs on how you can do that. And in the bootcamp curriculum, we have also attached a notebook on what you can do next after you build your stack. So I've attached the link. So this is the notebook link, what one can refer to. Sam, do you want to do a quick walkthrough of this?
Yeah. Sure. Okay. I am not able to see the notebook.
I guess you can click on download button.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Got it.
Is it download? You can see the notebook, right?
Yeah, but I'm not able to. Wait, I have to open my VS Code. Just give me a minute.
Or else should I share it from my end? Yeah, or is it fine now?
Yeah, you can share it. Yeah, I guess mine is stuck for some reason.
Okay, I'll probably share my screen. Okay, Sam. Yeah, probably you want to take it up. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So basically, whenever you deploy a stack, right? So basically, you would have the domain. So this is what I meant by a custom domain. If you see the deployed URL, you can see a custom domain for the app that you have deployed, and you can also will have a PDF path. You would also have a question. Tarun, can you go down? So you can basically get an API key from the application itself, and you can pass that as this thing. So I guess this URL is already live. So Tarun, can you come down? Yeah. So basically, you have the API key. You pass it in the headers, and the first thing you would do is you would upload to the data pipelines. So basically, you have a chat with PDF, so which means you can upload the data to the API, and you can get the status of the API as well. So after that is passed, now you have this chat session API, so where you basically create a session. So whatever you did on the UI, right, you just do it on the API. Like the on the UI, what did you do? You just first created a session, and then you went to the session, you uploaded a PDF, and after uploading the PDF, you wait for the PDF to get uploaded, and when you come down, I guess so here he is uploading the data to the uploads. So this is the file, this is the input key, and this is the file that is uploading, and the response is there. And yeah, so you wait for the response, you wait if for the response to get, so you get the data pipeline status as well. So the status would be queued initially, and finally it will get completed as well. And after that, Tarun, can you go up? Yeah, here only here. Yeah. So after your data pipeline is done, basically you can start asking questions to the chatbot on the same session, and all these sessions are persisted, and the data that you uploaded previously is also persisted. So which means if you created a session and if you want to go back to the previous session and start chatting again, it will still work. So everything is persisted, and uh, you don't lose your data or anything, and you can get access to it as well. So yeah, so these are the three steps in which you can basically see it, and you can get the streaming response as well. So right now we support streaming as well, so you can get the chatbot's response in streaming as well. Yeah.
Cool. So I'll just summarize before we can proceed with the other questions. So in the curriculum that we have, first what you can do is you can build your stack on app.aiplanet.com. And since most of you are already familiar with LangChain, this might be very simple for you. And if in case you get stuck, right, each component has a circular icon. And when you click on that circular icon, you will get to know what next component you need to connect. So if you have the input component, check on the circular icon, what's the next component? And just by that particular thing, you will be able to build your entire stack, similar to what you have already done in the module 3 and module 4. So once that is done, there are two options. Like for community, you can directly use the free deployment so that you can share it across to anyone you want to demo with. And if in case you want to go one step ahead, and if you want to deploy it somewhere else, then you can get the API and you can build your application. So this is the summary of what you can do with GenAI Stack. And obviously, there are different applications that you can build. I'll also share a link of GitHub where we have few JSON files. So as Sam already showed, if you want to build any application, you can upload a JSON file and build that particular stack, and then you can deploy it. So we have few samples. You can check out those samples, and then you can build your own application. So I'll attach the link. Meanwhile, probably we can take the other questions.
Yeah.
Does this feature any code generation once the chatbot setup? If you want to export later.
For export, no, actually, I wouldn't say it's a code. It's just it just exports the JSON, which is nothing but the node and what node connects to what, and in a JSON format, and That is what is exported. You don't actually get the end code or anything. Yeah. The code is basically stored on the platform, and it internally uses it to this thing. Can we make a bot with a combination of online and offline approval support? Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can definitely do that as well. Yeah, there is no restriction that you cannot do that. Yeah. So basically, your prompt will have much more variables, and you would have a chain which does that combination as well. Uh,
Yeah, I think that's it for the questions. Okay, I think that's it for the session. Thank you so much for the question.
I guess this screen is blocked. Probably we have one more question, Sam. Like my PDF having some images that
it's
can be
okay.
translated to text-based information saved to vector database.
Okay, yeah.
Can
So
we?
regarding that, we basically use unstructured, and the we use unstructured to do that. So there is a loader also for that, specifically called unstructured loader. So you can basically use that, and it will take care of having your PDF and managing all that images and tables as well inside your PDF. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and this is the GitHub link where we have few templates for you to use, where you just have to download the JSON file and upload it to your GenAI Stack application. We'll just wait if there is any follow-up question from the same displayed question that I have showed.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, do you have any closing thoughts on people who are getting started with GenAI Stack?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, I would suggest everyone to just start and uh, build some basic flows and see how what you can do, export stuff and see like and play around with the tool to get more hang of what it can do and not. So there is like text generation also, which we haven't covered. You can look at the talks as well for it. So you can do some generation based stuff as well on the platform. So do give it a shot. Yeah, and let us know your feedback. We would be happy to support you in whatever questions or problems that you might be facing.
Yeah, and in order to follow up the documentation, you can just enter docs.aiplanet.com and you will be able to see all the components list. And there was also a question on what parameters to use. We have the detailed parameters listed in the documentation that we have, and the link is docs.aiplanet.com. Yeah, and also to give you the updates on the AMS session, we will be having our first AMS session on 19th, and the speaker will be Shivai Lamba, who is a GSOC participant and also the mentor for TensorFlow, and he has given a lots of conference talk when it comes to JavaScript and as well as MLOps. So he'll be taking the first session where you can address all your queries that you have till module 5. And in that particular AMS session, Shivai will be taking most of the common questions so that everyone can get used to it. And in our previous newsletter, we also shared a Google form which has the time zone and also what is the best time to have the AMS session. So I request you to fill that Google form so that we have the better idea when we need to conduct that particular AMS session. So get most use of it so that your addresses or whatever issues you have, it will be addressed. Yeah. Again, thank you, Sam. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on GenAI Stack and showing the demo. And feel free to reach out to us if in case you have any more feedbacks or queries. And apart from that, we'll be sharing you the updates of upcoming live sessions, such as we have how you can build your agents. So till now, you were only dabbling around with retrieval augmented generation. So upcoming 3 modules will be related to agents, where you will build agent library from scratch in our next session. And then we'll have a session on how you can build an agentic workflow using AutoGen. And then you will have how you can build an agentic workflow using OpenAGI. So these are the upcoming sessions that you will be covering in the RAG and Agents Bootcamp. Happy learning. See you soon.